if you're going to meditate, you need a goal, which seems very counterintuitive because the whole point of meditation is to be in the moment, to be present. But you do need to have a goal. You do need to have a reason why you are meditating. You need to have a reason. And what is your reason? What is your reason? For many people, it is to be less anxious, less stressed. And so the reason why people get stressed is because they're thinking about who they are in relation to fabricated stories that have been created by themselves or that have been programmed into them from the society and culture that we live in. So, we might think that we're a terrible person. For an example, we might think we're a terrible person. And we think we're a terrible person because we it's hard to explain. You see, we grow up in a collective narrative. But we don't realize it is a narrative. We think it's reality because everyone is constantly communicating this narrative. Everyone is stuck in the mud of this narrative, believing it to be reality, believing it to be the ground of existence, believing it to be real, believing it to be significant and important. So for an example, things like getting a job, having friends, finding a partner, having a passion, having goals and ambitions and achievements and success, being someone in the world, helping the world, and the constant stream of the external world telling you who you are. So we get born into this collective narrative that everyone's believing to be real. They don't realize that it's just a story, that it's just a fabrication overlaid on top of reality. They believe it to be reality. And so you get born into this and you think it's real because everyone is believing it to be real, and you get fucking sucked into it. No choice. And so back to what I was talking about. Um, so basically, the reason why we can get stressed is because we don't realize that this narrative that we're playing, this 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 role that we're playing in this story that we're in, we don't realize that it's just a story. And we don't realize that it's just a role that we're playing. We believe that we are that character that we're playing. We've forgotten that we're just an actor. And we're believing this story, this narrative to be real. So, and the narrative is has consequences. The narrative tells you that if you don't do this, then you are this person, and this is how you will be perceived. And if you do this, then you are this person, and this is how you will be perceived. And so it's like, if if you're, say, unemployed, and uh, well, let's say if you don't have a partner, and say your family and whatever, it's like as your friends and family around you like want you to get a partner, and I'm not the best with examples right now, but what could be good? Okay, well, let's say you're unemployed, and your friends and family are constantly saying to you like, you should get a job. How about this or this? Um, and if you buy into the story, the whole collective narrative, if you buy into that and start to believe the characters to be real, then who you are is, an unemployed bum, a lazy person, and you feel not good about yourself. You feel not good enough. You feel like there's something wrong with you. And this is what causes stress, anxiety. So anyway, back to the main message. The goal. You need a goal for meditate. You need a reason why you're going to meditate. So many people meditate to relieve stress. And so the way to relieve stress is to quiet your mind down enough to see that well, basically it's to see that narrative doesn't exist. That, well, not that it doesn't exist, but that it isn't real. It's not baseline reality. It's not it's just a game. It's just a fabrication and overlaid on top of reality. It's not real. It's not that you're not good enough, because that idea or perception that you're not good enough, which causes you to stress, is dependent upon all the other dynamics and structure of the narrative. And so, if you're meditating and you clear your mind, you quiet down your mind and just focus on the raw sensations of the present moment, there is no narrative anymore, because the narrative only exists when you think. Because the narrative is a collective concept in the mind of human beings. It's not a real thing, right? We're all having a mass hallucination. We're all hallucinating. We're having a collective hallucination. In our mind. It's our mind. We have a collective mind-made concept. And this is a very detailed explanation of why meditation actually de-stresses you, relieves stress. You know, people think it's just like, oh, you're just gonna be relaxed because you're just focusing on your breath and you're focusing on the present moment. You're just, you're not thinking about the past or the future. But it's not that you're not thinking about the past or future. It's just that you're not thinking. It's has nothing to do with the past or future. It has everything to do with the mind's false construction of a fairy tale, of a story that has no inherent existence. But you see, no one wants to know that, because it means their whole reality is a lie, is fake, is made up. No one wants to know that. No one wants to know that their whole life of chasing success and relationships and whatever else, and having these dynamics of how you behave in the world, no one wants to realize that it's all just a story that has no inherent existence. No one wants to realize that it's not real. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not absolute truth. It's a game. It's a story. Society and culture, your beliefs about who you are and the world, your opinions on things, all that is not true. It's has no foundation in reality. It's just a story that everyone is hooked up into. It's a matrix. It's And here's the thing: is that no one wants to realize this because if you unhook yourself from that story, from the collective narrative, then it's very lonely. And that's something we fear deep down, is loneliness. You know, we hate to be alone. Or we hate to feel lonely. And so you can be around so many people and it's fucking crushing to look around and everyone is believing in this collective narrative when you've unhooked yourself from it. But it gets easier. It gets, you adapt to it eventually. And then the good thing is that you're free to to play a role in the story that everyone else is playing. But you know it's a story and you know that you're playing a role when everyone else doesn't realize they're playing a role, doesn't realize that they're in a story, but you know, so you're the one that can have fun because you can step out of it anytime you want. You don't have to your worth and your happiness is not dependent upon what the narrative tells you worth and happiness is. I don't know if I'm making my message that clear right now, but it's hard to explain. But basically, yeah, my main point is meditation. You need a goal. You need a reason why you're doing it. And you need to know why it works. When you don't need to know that, but like, well, you kind of do. Otherwise, you don't really know what you're doing. You need to know what meditation leads to, which, you see, I don't think the mainstream is ready for the consequences of meditation. It has a dark side. Meditation is like psychedelics, and you can see that psychedelics are illegal. The government doesn't want people to take psychedelics because the psychedelics show you similar shit that meditation shows you. Psychedelics show you this narrative that it's not real, that society and culture is just a game and it's not real. Meditation does the same, and I don't think the mainstream have realised this yet, because that's kind of fucked to think that if they can make psychedelics illegal, you can imagine if they made meditation illegal. I don't fucking know how they'll do that, but that's just. But anyway. So the thing is like, you first get into meditation, maybe you use the Headspace app. And you do the guided meditations for 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you feel calm. Because basically what your mind is doing is meditation is all about being present in the moment, experiencing the raw sensations that are happening now, and not getting lost in thought. Because all thought is stories, like constructs, like creating, right? The minute you have a thought, you are separating things. The nature of reality is oneness, and basically when you have a thought, you're separating oneness into two or many, 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 many more. And so, once you separate something into two, then these two can have a relationship, and then, you can have all many, many more, and then all these things have a relationship. And see, the idea, the example of not being good enough is only dependent upon so many other factors. You see, there is no good enough or not good enough. That only exists in thought. That only exists when you separate and depend, every. You're only not good enough in relation to something else. It's dependent upon something else, which is dependent upon something else. It's. So anyway, say like you're doing headspace, guided meditations. You're focusing on the present moment, which is stopping the momentum of all this storytelling that your mind's doing, of separating oneness into many, and perceiving yourself in the world to be all this or that. You're stopping the momentum of storytelling in your mind, and it's basically that's the mechanism. That's what's happening. And, I don't think people realize that that's what's happening. It's just like, I'll meditate, I'll be present, I'll be calm. I won't be thinking about the past or the future. I'll just be present, and it'll be relaxing. But I think it's very important to understand this. But here's the thing: is that people don't want to understand this because, like I said, it's like psychedelics. It will fuck up society and culture because they don't have any inherent existence. I want to go back to this dependency thing. I think this is a very important point. Is that the way that you perceive reality is dependent upon so many factors, so many conditions and causes. And all those other conditions and causes are also dependent upon other conditions and causes, which are dependent on more and more and more and more. What I'm saying is that reality is empty of any. Reality is empty of any meaning. Reality has no meaning other than the meaning that we create when we separate things. When we say this is this and this is that. when we contract oneness, we contract infinity into finite form. You see, who am I? Well, let's say, I am Jasper. Okay, but Jasper is only dependent upon all the other human names. Okay, who am I? I'm a man. Okay, a man, a male, is dependent upon a female. If there was no female, I wouldn't be a man. I'm a human being. A human being is dependent on all other species of animals. Who am I? I could say I am not good enough. Not good enough is dependent upon good enough. And these two concepts, good enough and not good enough, are dependent upon the values and beliefs that we have been force fed by society and culture. And society and culture are dependent upon humans that have just fucking done their thing, just followed the lawful nature of humans. Right and wrong. What is right in the world? What is wrong in the world? What is right about myself? What is wrong about myself? These things are dependent. Right is dependent upon wrong. Good is dependent upon bad. And also these things, right and wrong, right and wrong are dependent upon the values that we've been brainwashed into believing to be true, brainwashed by the collective narrative. Collective narrative is dependent upon so much shit. And so it's like, who are you without thinking? Who are you without thinking about who you are? Who are you without relating yourself to anything? Because I can say who I am in relation to society. I can say who I am in relation to my family. I can say who I am in relation to my country. I can say who I am in relation to I can say who I am in relation to my age group. I can say who I am in relation to my psychological makeup. But when you stop relating yourself to anything, then what are you? And you see there are levels of storytelling, levels of abstraction, levels of fabricating a story onto reality. And what humans have done that causes stress is that we've gone up these levels so much and creating all these stories that we've forgotten that all the way back down here, reality has no fabrication, reality has no abstraction. It has no meaning. And we forget this. The meditation is a process of defabrication, of stepping down the ladder of abstraction. Now, abstraction, fabrication, is not bad. It's what humans do. It's a very useful thing. It's why we have all this technology and how we've got language and can communicate. It's a very interesting and fun thing, this fabrication shit that we humans have got going. You know, it's a very powerful thing where we can actually turn the one into many, where we can create so many things out of nothing. What becomes detrimental, however, is when we start to believe the fabrications to be reality. That's what causes stress. That's what causes suffering. When we believe ourselves to be someone, when we believe ourselves to be right or wrong, good or bad, when we believe ourselves to be good enough, not good enough, worthy, not worthy, when we believe ourselves to be doing enough or not doing enough, when we believe in these stories to be true, then we are trapped. Now, of course, it's a lot nicer to believe yourself to be good rather than bad, or right rather than wrong, or good enough rather than not good enough. However, it's still a story. It's still storytelling. We need to come back to baseline reality. And know ourselves as nothing. And be content with that. And then we can start storytelling, because any time that we then start to feel stressed or suffer, we can climb down the ladder of abstraction and see that it is just a story that has no inherent meaning or existence. We don't need to fucking do this to ourselves. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about mainly in this video was the goals of meditation. So my goal is to do exactly this. This is the goal of all meditation techniques, is to climb down the ladder of abstraction, to disidentify from everything, from your body, from your thoughts, all the fabrications, the collective narrative, and even from consciousness. All sensations, disidentify from all sensations. When I say sensations, I don't just mean the five, I mean every sense that you have. You've got to disidentify from your sense of time, your sense of space, your sense of worth, your all senses. Disidentify from all sensations. Anything. Objectify everything. Objectify all experience. The definition of objectify is is by definition not you. If I objectify this finger, I say this is a finger, I see it, that's an object, that's not me. Because by definition, I'm the subject, the finger is the object. And you keep stepping back, you keep going back and back and back and back, and objectifying all your experiences. I'm not the body, I'm not that thought, I'm not these physical sensations, I'm not this story that I'm playing in my head, I'm not this person. And you get to consciousness, but you've got to disidentify it even from consciousness. Consciousness is a mental construct. It is. Because find consciousness, find it. There's no such thing as consciousness. There's no such thing as awareness. There is only sensation. No such thing as awareness of sensation. There's just sensation. You see, there's seeing, right? I'm looking at colours and shapes. And you could say, oh, who's the I that is looking at colours and shapes? Consciousness, awareness. But there is no consciousness or awareness. There's no seer. There is only seeing. There is only the raw sensations of colours and shapes. Where is the consciousness in that? There is none. Objectify, 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 disidentify. This is the heart of meditation. This is what meditation is. To empty out the subject. To objectify everything until you don't exist anymore. Until there is no you. So what I'm trying to say is that if you understand what meditation is about, then you know, it's up to you if you want to do it or not. You see, because I see a lot of people online, and I've been meditating for like, I don't know, like a year and a half, nearly, every day, pretty much. I've been trying to make it like a routine, like I've got to do meditation now. But it's like, why? Why do I need to? Why do I want to? What's the point? And you see, people want to relieve stress, so they meditate. But meditation is a process of dying. And see, no one wants to die. Meditation is a self-destructive process. And see, everyone wants to keep living in their fairy tale, because when their whole story is seen through, when their whole reality, when what they believe, when you believe something to be real, and then you get shown that it isn't, that it's not true, that it's fake, that hurts you. That's a death. When you see something that you think to be true, when you see finally that isn't true, when you believe in that to be true for so long, and then you finally see that it's not real, that's a death. And that's like, fuck. That's going to fucking hurt. And this is what meditation is. It's a process of of killing your reality. And you see, no one wants to do that. You see, the ego doesn't want to do that. The ego is is the storytelling, is the narrative and the role in the narrative. And so your desire to meditate is a desire from deep within that you just don't want to be fucking doing with this anymore. But really, meditation is suicide. And you see, that's not a good selling point, is it? But try meditation now. It's free. What are the benefits? You will die. Want to kill yourself? Meditate. You know, it's not sold like that. It's like you want to be calm, you want to be relaxed, you want to be better at your job and relationships. Meditate. But no. Meditation will kill you. It will fucking kill you. And so you've got to start here. If meditation. Do you want to die? Do you want to die? Do you want to die? And do you want your world to die? If not, why meditate? What's the point? And so here's the question to me. Do I want to die? Do I want to kill myself? Do I want to kill this world? And the answer is yes and no. And I think that's for everyone as well. People suffer in life, but people have good times in life as well. People want to kill the cause of suffering. And, you know, this is why we meditate, is because we're trying to kill that self and that reality that causes us to suffer. But it takes us down the rabbit hole, and if we keep going, you know, but it causes us to suffer anyway. Believing in something that doesn't exist causes us to suffer. And the self doesn't exist. There is no self, and so meditation is the process of the disillusionment of self. So anyway, what I've started to realize is that meditation is not about perfecting a technique. It's not about following the breath. It's not about fucking following the breath. Meditation is not about following the fucking breath. What's the point in that? If you know what meditation is about, you will do it right. If you know meditation is about objectifying, if you know meditation is about objectifying all the sensations that make up your world, then it doesn't matter what technique you use. I mean, of course, in the early days, Experiment with techniques. Yeah, fucking experiment with all the techniques, you know. Like I'm only saying this now because I've been meditating pretty much every day for nearly a year and a half. And I've been following my breath. I've been body scanning and I've been noting. I've been doing all sorts of techniques. And so it's helpful, of course, definitely helpful, you know, like if I just started meditating now, I suppose you do need technique at the start to get concentrated, to relax your mind. But that's only the first bit, you know. You don't want to be someone who's following the breath. You don't want to be that person who just follows the breath for decades, hoping for some spiritual awakening. Following the breath is just the very starting point, is just to get your mind concentrated and relaxed. And once it is, then technique is not so important. I mean, this is just what I'm saying now, you know, I don't know what my views will be in the future. But what I think ultimately is technique is not important. It's about knowing what meditation will lead to and why you're meditating. And the reason why you're meditating, the reason for meditation is to objectify and disidentify from all the sensations that make up your world. Until you cannot locate yourself anymore, until you're not identified with anything, until you no longer exist, until you annihilate yourself. And if you know that that's what meditation is about, then technique doesn't really matter so much. Because you know what you're looking for. Basically, what you're looking for is, you know, just ask yourself, like, who am I right now? Like, where is this self? Or where is the identification? And you might, you know, an answer might come up like, oh, the identification is in, like, this sensation in my throat. And the story that goes along with that, like, oh, this sensation in my throat is because of communication issues. Oh, that means therefore I am not good enough because I have got these communication issues. And so where your identity is in this not good enoughness. And so basically what you got to do is disidentify from that story. See the emptiness within the story. See that it's just a story, a fucking fabrication that has no inherent reality. And when you disidentify from that, you know, and how you do that is by seeing it clearly, is by objectifying it. Like I said, anything you objectify, by definition, that is not who you are, because you are the subject observing the object. And so anything that you objectify is not you. And so you objectify something, and then by doing that, you disidentify from it. And then something else might come up, like another story in your mind, and you be like, oh, I'm really proud of myself. I did this thing. I'm proud. Oh, who am I? Oh, well, I'm proud. I'm this good citizen that has done something good. Disidentify from that. Objectify it. That's not who you are. You are the watcher. And then, you know, you get all the way back and like, where am I? I'm the watcher. Disidentify from that. Disidentify from the watcher. The watcher is still a cluster of sensations, whatever that may be. Objectify it, disidentify from it, kill yourself, basically. No technique needed, right? If you're earnest, if you're sincere, if you're determined and motivated to awaken from the dream state, then you'll do it. Right? Simple as that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.